Yeah, I need to hit, got it.
Okay, all systems are go.
No.
Okay, all systems are go.
No.
Okay, all systems are go.
Do you want to turn off the YouTube volume? No.
Okay, all systems are go.
Do you want to turn off the YouTube volume?
I'm not sure why we have a loop
Do you want
going.
to turn off the YouTube volume?
Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our May 24th, 2022 hybrid council meeting, some virtual and some in person in the council chambers. It would seem that our broadcasting systems and our virtual systems are in order now. We had a few hiccups there at the outset. So on that note, I would take a mover and a seconder to open this meeting. Moved by Councillor Foisey, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that this meeting be opened at 7:01 p.m. All in favor? Carried. We have two sets of minutes from our April 26th special meeting. You will recall that was the auditor meeting, and then a presentation of the financial statements, and the regular meeting, our last regular meeting on May 10th. In that regard, I would take a mover and a seconder to accept both sets of minutes. Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that the minutes of the special meeting held April 26th, 2022, and regular council meeting held May 10th, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Any issues with any of those minutes? All in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Is there any this evening? I don't have a particularly pecuniary interest. It's a provincially mandated program, but the wildlife compensation program, I'll just note for council's benefit and our viewing public that there is a payment being made to me in that regard. That's approved by the province of Ontario more so than the township, so it's not a declarable pecuniary interest in that regard, but it is a payment to me showing in the disbursements. Presentations and delegations, I don't believe we have any this evening. Minutes and reports of municipal committees and boards. Planning advisory.
We did have a meeting on May 17th. I was not able to attend, so I will let my vice chair comment on this meeting. Councillor Foisey.
Yes, we did have 3 severances and 1 lot addition.
Okay. Those motions are coming forward later in our agenda. Fire department, I don't believe has had a meeting.
No, there's been no meeting.
Recreation and fitness, neither, I don't believe.
No meeting.
Library,
Nope.
okay. General government has not. Police services, there is a police services board training and conference in Toronto that I'm leaving Thursday for. Member Paquette is also traveling with me, last I heard. So we will get up to speed on all of the new changes related to the new Police Services Act and other things that are coming our way related to the detachment board process that we're going to go through. Emergency management, I believe we have a meeting scheduled for, yes, CIO Walker, I believe we have a meeting tomorrow morning.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to go back to the Police Services Board. We currently don't have a secretary for the board named. Our former secretary had retired. Just wanted to bring it up to you. Maybe we could decide if we're going to have the person who replaced the former manager of planning, director of planning, the new manager of planning take up that role, or do we want to look at going in a different direction at this time?
Well, I'd take your advice on that, in that the role of the secretary of the Police Services Board is relatively straightforward, in that typically we meet at the maximum 4 times a year. The business of the meeting is pretty prescribed in the Police Services Act of, you know, what business can be conducted at the meeting. The only support outside of the meeting that person usually provides is the collection of the meeting business for in between to form the agenda of a Police Services Board meeting, and also any legislative changes or anything that we should be made aware of. The association does a pretty good job of advising the members directly, but the secretary typically compiles all of that stuff and liaises a bit with the detachment commander to form the agenda for the meeting. So we can leave that with you for this evening as far as that goes, and I would take a recommendation, if you like, of who could fulfill that role going forward.
I'd be willing to also be considered. So if that is agreeable, I could take up that responsibility as well, or we could pass it along to the new manager of planning. Really is up to you, Your Worship.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your offer to take that up. That's your decision to make then. If you're willing to assume that responsibility, so be it. I'm fine with that. And I'll mention it to Member Paquette. Our Police Services Board, for the benefit of our viewers, is a 3-member board at the best of times. And as opposed to council being a 5-member minimum, Police Services Boards can be a 3-member minimum under the old system, which we're currently under until the completion of this term of council, when province-wide there's substantial change coming to Police Services Boards. In our particular case right now, we're a 2-member board with a vacancy, in that there's typically a provincial appointee on our board, and that position is they're 1-year appointments. The past member, his term expired, and because of the change of constitution, the board will be much larger, but it'll serve more than just an individual municipality. I don't foresee them appointing a provincial appointee, knowing that there's only about 4 months left in the term. So there'll just be a 2-member board to the completion of this term of council. Okay, moving then to, and just to confirm, emergency management is meeting tomorrow morning then. Okay, and Public Works, I see the Public Works manager there. Do you have any news to throw our way at this point in time?
We were busy trying to get the parks ready to be open for the May long weekend, in between the rain. After we mentioned the word calcium. It seems to start raining immediately, so I should try that next spring. We got the cemeteries all nicely back to par, brushed around the fence line at the Mount Pleasant Cemetery. Today, Provincial should be finishing up on their last culvert tomorrow for the relining project on Development Road. I have a meeting with them and Antoine in the morning to discuss one problem area. Just for Councillor Lagasse and Mayor McLaren, I just want to let you know that I am in a meeting on Thursday. I'm unable to discuss the details at this time, but it is regarding Blanchard's Landing. There's quite a few of us getting together as entities, and I'll be there to represent the township. I'm not sure which direction the meeting's headed that day, but I could let you know more at our next council meeting. We were successful at helping the Lions Club with their ATV run. I heard they had over 300 people registered, so it was a very busy day for them. And myself personally, I'm working on my budgets for environmental services and the Public Works Department. And I will be on holidays sometime this week after all the meetings. And
Okay,
that's all I have for you today.
thank you. So the only committee we have motions coming from then is our Planning Advisory Committee. And on the first one, it's related to application B23 2021, David and Darlene Stoddard. I take a mover and a seconder for it. Moved by Councillor Foisey, seconded by Councillor Corbett. Whereas the Planning Advisory Committee has recommended to Council that consent application B23 2021, David and Darlene Stoddard, be approved. Be it resolved that Council approves of this recommendation, along with the conditions and notes set out on the attached decision of approval authority form. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Next one, application B1 2022, Ivan Lacourciere. I take a mover and a seconder for it. Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Foisey. Whereas the Planning Advisory Committee has recommended to Council that consent application B1 2022, Ivan Lacourciere, previously Christina Namadi and Jaleh Telebi, be approved. Be it resolved that Council approves of this recommendation, along with the conditions and notes set out on the attached decision of approval authority form. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Next one, B2 2022, Anna and Rod Brooks. A mover and a seconder for it. Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor Lagasse. Whereas the Planning Advisory Committee has recommended to Council that consent application B2 2022, Anna and Rod Brooks, be approved. Be it resolved that Council approves of this recommendation, along with the conditions and notes set out on the attached decision of approval authority form. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. And last one from planning, B3 2022, Joanne Stewart. To take a mover and a seconder for it. Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor Foisey. Whereas the Planning Advisory Committee has recommended to Council that consent application B3 2022, Joanne Stewart, be approved. Be it resolved that Council approves of this recommendation, along with the conditions and notes set out on the attached decision of approval authority form. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Moving then to reports of non-municipal committees and boards, Phenom. Anybody want to, or did we already have a report on the Phenom conference? We did? Okay.
Yes, we did, Your Worship.
Right, and Conservation Authority.
Camera.
North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority will be meeting tomorrow night.
He will look at the camera.
Okay.
Right now, all I see is back here.
And Castleholm, I'm starting to get in my email inbox a progress report on the construction situation, but I haven't brought myself up to speed on exactly where it is yet by reading them. So I can see from driving by that there's quite a bit of change happening around there in different areas, but I haven't got into the details of the progress reports that they're sending to the interested parties. No notices of motion. Item 8, introduction and consideration of bylaws. First, second, and third reading of bylaw 2022-25. That being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2021-31 regarding the Jules Gagne subdivision agreement. It would seem it's pretty basic in that there was some requirement for temporary potable water to be in that agreement, as I understand it. Is that correct, CAO Walker?
Through your worship, what was required was just there was a condition 10.b that was somehow omitted in the site plan agreement that had to be put back in. Has been approved by our lawyer and by Mr. Gagne's lawyer, and everyone is good with the application going forward and being finalized.
Okay. No questions from council in regard to that, then I would take a mover and a seconder for the bylaw. Moved by Councillor Foisey, seconded by Councillor Corbett. Whereas council deems it necessary and expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session. Be it hereby resolved that a bylaw for the purpose of amending bylaw 2021-31, being a bylaw to approve a subdivision agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Bonfield and Jules Gagne, be read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered 2022-25, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carried. Item 9, disbursements. I take a mover and a seconder to put them on the table, and then I'd entertain any questions. Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Foisey. The floor is now open to any questions related to the disbursements. The only one I had is the dinners at Ogra. I'm wondering, did we entertain the premier or something? They seemed abnormally large.
Through your worship, I can answer the question. There were a number of meals that where councillors and myself gathered together, and we expensed the meals collectively in order to pay for them on the corporate credit card, and then in exchange for that, the members did not collect their per diem for that day. So they one offset the other.
Okay, I get it. Any other questions on the disbursements? All right. Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Foisey, that the following disbursements be approved as prepared. APO 6044, which compiles all departments for a subtotal of $326,383.63, and payroll batches 1216 to 1218 in an amount of $30,367.18 for a total disbursement of $356,750.81. All in favor? Carried. Correspondence. Memo from the Public Works Manager related to the calcium tender. Pretty straightforward report. I don't know if there's anything council needs to ask of the Public Works Manager related to it. Now is your time. And I would take a mover and a seconder to accept the award if, okay. Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor Foisey. I'll read the motion and then call for any questions if there is. Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor Foisey, whereas a joint request for quotation for dust control and road stabilization material was executed with the municipality of East Ferris. And whereas the Township of Bonfield will be purchasing 174,000 liters of liquid 35% calcium at 34.5 cents per liter. And whereas the Public Works Manager recommends awarding the tender to Pollard Highway Products at a cost of $61,086.52 after HST rebates, be it hereby resolved that Council accepts the recommendation of the Public Works Manager. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Information. Our new app is Citizen Alert. The town app is what it's called now. Anybody want to describe to our viewing public the virtues of that one more time?
I don't know if you can see.
You're muted at the moment, CEO Walker.
Sorry, through your worship, I want to defer that to Deputy Treasurer, Deputy Clerk, Andre, to answer that question.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so Citizen Alert has been rebranded to Town App. Once you download this new app, you have a chance of choosing what town you would like to follow. So you can set it up for Bonfield and then set it up for other municipalities such as Calvin, Mattawa, Pat Cam, who are also part of Town App. This app allows you, or allows the township to send out notifications, emergency alerts. It also allows our citizens of the area to report any issues that they may find. And just recently with the fire ban that was put on, anyone could have gone on our app and have been updated that it had been lifted. There's also a calendar and there's info that could be found there for different events or just emergency issues that may be coming up, such as road closures if there was an accident. So all of that information could be found on our app.
Okay, thank you. There's no new business. The unfinished business related to the leased property is not under discussion this evening. There's no addendum, so we're off to confirmatory bylaw. I would take a mover and a seconder for it. Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Corbett. Whereas Council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of Council from April 26, 2022 to May 10th, 2022, be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2022-23, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carried. It looks like we've reached the finish line in record time. I would take a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councillor Foisey, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that this meeting be adjourned at 7:24 p.m. All in
Well done,
favor?
Chair.
Thank you. It's amazing how much we can get done without Rusty talking all night.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good night.